4. Golf is a great game. Sometimes rewarding, often frustrating, but highly addictive. I've played golf since I was 10 years old, and I've played it throughout my whole life. It's one of my favorite hobbies, and today I'm here to talk to you about a few things in golf. Some of the terms and etiquette in golf, some of the clubs and how to use them, and then also scoring. In golf, there are no coaches or referees. It's just the golfer himself out there on the course. He needs to know the rules and the regulations, and also he needs to abide by them. Some of the terms in golf I'd like to go over with you are, in 18 holes, there are tee boxes, what's called a tee box. It's where you start off with your first hole and you'll tee the ball off. That's where you hit your first shot, basically. And then at the end of the hole, there's something that's called a putting green, or referred to as a green, and that is more commonly known with the flag stick in it. And that is where you will finish up each hole. In between the two, you have a few things actually. What's called a fairway, which is the grass in between the tee and the green that is well kept and manicured, and it's also mowed, and that's where you ideally want to land the ball there in between. But on both sides of that is something called a rough, and that is a little longer grass. It's usually where I'm at, but it makes for a harder shot, but it makes it more challenging. And then also there's something called a bunker. A bunker is basically a sand trap. It's where your ball would go, and you would actually hit out of the sand. Some of them are in the fairways, some of them are around the green area, but you would hit out of it, and it makes it more challenging. Once again, you try not to go into them, but it's a big hole with sand in it. It's probably on average maybe 15 feet wide and about 8 feet long or so. And then now that you know some of the terms in golf, I'd like to go over the etiquettes. In golf, you're supposed to be considerate of your other players out there on the course. When they're getting ready to take their shot, you want to make sure that you're not moving. They can see the peripheral vision kind of messing them up, or also not talking or making any unnecessary noises. Also, if you do hit it into a sand trap or a bunker, you want to be courteous and rake the sand trap. There's a rake provided, and you want to smooth it out when you're done, so the next player, if he lands in there, he won't be sitting there trying to play out of a footprint that you left in there, and it makes it harder for them. And then another etiquette would be to replace your divots. When you golf, a lot of the time when you hit the ball, there will be a big chunk of grass that comes out, and you need to take that grass, if it's still all together, and go pick it up and put it back in the hole and kind of stomp it in so it'll grow back. And if the divot blew into a million pieces, there's usually some sand provided, maybe in your golf cart, with some grass seed, and you'll sprinkle it in there and it'll grow back, hopefully. And now that you know some of the terms and etiquette about golf, I'd like to talk to you about some of the golf clubs and what they do. The first type is your driver and your fairway woods. This here is my driver. It's the biggest club that you will use, and you will use it ideally off of the tee box. It goes the furthest distance. And then also for the fairway wood, it's another wood, looks like the driver and similar, but it goes pretty far also, but it's used, hence the fairway wood, out of the fairway ideally. And the second type of clubs that you will come across are your irons and your wedges. Now your iron is something that looks like this. They range from anywhere from a 3 to a 9 iron on average. And let's see, a quote: according to the article of the Basics of Golf Clubs found on PineMeadowGolf.com website, the higher the club number for the iron, the higher the loft, which results in less distance. So if you have a 3 iron and a 9 iron, your 3 iron is a lower number, so it's less loft, so it'll go further. Now your 9 iron would be lofted back a little bit more, to where when you hit it, it would go up, which would result in less distance. So now that you know about the irons, I'd like to tell you about the wedges. That is also It resembles an iron, but they're used usually more around the green, and they don't go near as far. They almost go straight up and down. If you can see the loft, the way it's laid back, it'll just chip it straight up into the air. And then the last type of club is going to be your putter. This is my putter here. There's a lot of different types of putters. You're going to use a putter for basically putting or tapping the ball into the hole on the green. Now, when you go to get a putter, you're going to want to find something, there's so many different kinds, something that's just comfortable for you and that you can use, makes you feel confident, and that's about it. It's all about confidence when it comes to putting. And now that we've talked about the clubs and their uses in golf, I would like to talk to you about scoring in golf. In scoring, the object of the game is to get the ball from the tee to the green and then in the hole, obviously, in the fewest amount of strokes. Golf is unlike many other sports. In basketball and football, baseball, the higher score wins. Not in golf. Golf, you actually want the lowest score. So, also according to Mark Blakemore in the article of Golf Instructions, Tips and Lessons found on PGAprofessional.com website, a par is the number of strokes that a player is expected to make to complete the hole. So that is a par when you're scoring. Now, let's say we were on a par 4 and we were trying to, if we got it in 4 strokes, that would be a par obviously, but then you have, if you go over, if we got a 5, then it would be considered a bogey, or if we got a 6, it would be a double bogey, and that goes on triple bogey, quadruple bogey. On the flip side, if we're on a par 4 and you get a 3, now it's 1 under par, that's called a birdie. If you get a 2 on a par 4, that's 2 under par, that would be called a eagle. Now everybody's heard of a hole-in-one, that's usually on a par 3 if you hit it off the tee box and it goes straight in the hole. In my 18 years of golf, I haven't had a hole-in-one yet, but I've came pretty close, and I look forward to maybe one day being able to score and get a hole-in-one. And now that you know about the scoring in golf, I'd like to go over real quick what we've talked about today. We've talked about the terms and etiquette in golf. We've also talked about the clubs and how to use them, and then scoring. So I would encourage each and every one of you to go try out the game of golf and give it a shot. Just be aware it's very addictive and it's a lot of fun, but it's a game you can play of all ages, and I look forward to teaching my daughter that she's starting to now play in golf, and she's 5 years old.